Hey everyone, I'm back with another question based on current PMP exam pattern. So let's read the question. You are the product manager for a team developing a new fitness tracking smartwatch aimed at casual users. During the initial planning phase, the stakeholders agreed that the key features would include step tracking, heart rate monitoring, sleep tracking, and smartphone notification. Midway through the development, the marketing team suggests adding GPS tracking and music playback to make the product more competitive in the market. The development team warns that adding these features could delay the launch by 6 weeks and increase cost by 20%. Now, the question is, as the product manager, how would you handle this situation while maintaining the control over the product scope? What factors would you consider before deciding whether to include the new feature? Now let's look at the options. Option A, accept the new features immediately as they enhance the competitiveness of the product regardless of timeline or cost impact. Option B, reject the new feature outright since any new change in scope will delay the project and increase costs. Option C, evaluate the value and priority of the new features with stakeholders and perform an impact analysis on timeline, cost, and quality before making a decision. Option D, ask the development team to add features quietly without informing stakeholders to avoid scope creep discussions. So the question says that you are the product manager and you have finalized the product features at the initial planning phase. But at midway, when you are during the development stage, your marketing team suggests to add some more features to remain competitive in the market. So this would additionally increase the cost and timeline, right? So as a product manager, how would you handle this situation? So you have 4 options or scenarios which you have to select on the basis of the given case. So the first option, option A, is accept the new features, where it is said that you will immediately accept the new features just to remain competitive, and you will ignore the timeline and cost impact. As you know, if you want any change in the scope, okay, you have to follow the change management process which is there in an organization. So before we decode option A, let's understand how the change management works. The stakeholder, whenever raises a change request, that is step 1, the project manager has to do root cause analysis to understand why, how, and under what circumstances this change is being raised. After that, project manager does the impact analysis to understand that if this change happens, if he accepts or she accepts the change, what impact it is going to bring on our project plan. Do we need to deviate from the baseline, scope baseline, cost baseline, schedule baseline? If the change raised by the stakeholder does not have any impact on baseline, project manager can take the decision without informing all the other stakeholders. If the change raised by stakeholder has an impact, project manager cannot take the decision. Project manager has to move to step 4, that is update the change in the change log and present the change in front of CCB. CCB means change control board. So change control board means all the stakeholder, all those people who are participating in the project comes under CCB, who will be affected by project decision. So you have to call a meeting, present your change, present your thing to them. If the change is accepted by all the stakeholder, project manager has to update the project plan. That is step number 9. In case change is not accepted by CCB, then project manager has to inform the stakeholder that yes, the change has not been accepted. So in order to do any change in the middle of the project, you have to follow this change management process. Now you can see clearly in option A, it is said that product manager can immediately accept the new feature. No, product manager along with project manager has to follow the change management process if they want to change. So they cannot ignore the timeline or cost impact. So this makes this option wrong. Next option, option B, is reject the new feature outright since any change in scope will delay the project and increase the cost. This is also an incorrect option because product manager can, without thinking, cannot just go and outrightly reject things, right? He has to see that product has to be competitive, right? So giving a thought would not be a bad idea. So this makes this option incorrect. C is evaluate the value and priority of new feature with stakeholder and perform an impact analysis on timeline and cost and quality before making a decision. Now this is a correct option because here this option talks about going through the change management process. The next option, last option, option D, ask the development team to add the features quietly without informing stakeholder to avoid scope creep and discussions. So here this option is again incorrect because we are not following the change management process. Quietly we are adding more features into the product which might lead to scope creep, right? So incorrect option. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.